Good morning, team. How are you all? Yes, we are live. We're live. We're live. We're live. I'm just going to have a little look here and see if I can just move. I got my little stand this morning. So anyhow, we'll see how we go. So I hope that you are all fantastic today on this beautiful Monday. I hope that the actual storms that have actually been flying through the country have not affected you guys too much today. Good morning, Cara and Carla. Look at that, first two on here. Hey, Lena, how's it going? So yes, so today, of course, a Monday morning, here we are live into our group. I'm just going to wait for the beautiful Lindsay to come on. But while you're coming on, there's gorgeous Lindsay now. While you're coming on, why don't you put on where you're coming in from today. Bring Lindsay on camera. I'm going to do that. Let us know how your day is going. How was your weekend? And yeah, what's actually going on for you this morning? And that, here we go, adding the beautiful Lindsay. There we go. So, woo, there you are. How are you, darling? Morning. Oh, wow, you're loud. Let me just turn down the volume. Yeah, that's all right.
I was never known to be, wasn't known to be quiet.
I know. I think, woo, there we go. We're awake now.
Oh, too funny.
Oh, sure, it's all good fun. It's all good fun. I was just letting it, oh, here we go. Chris, I just found out I've qualified month there already. Woohoo, you go, girl. Well done. Morning. Good morning, Melinda. Good morning, Joe. I can see everybody starting to pop on now, which is awesome. Well, it's a beautiful Monday, and I don't know about the rest of you, but we've had some beautiful lightning storms. Not so beautiful for some people. I know many around the Sydney area, and I hope not too many of our Juice Plus franchisees have been affected by the weather and the storms, power out, all sorts of things happening. And that up your way, Lindsay, was it affecting you up your way?
We've had a lot of rain. We haven't had a lot of lightning, not where I live anyway. And I've got to say, though, I'm celebrating the rain because we've now got full water tanks and the trees are green and the grass is beautiful. And it means my husband's back on the tractor mowing the lawn again and he'll be loving it. So
that's awesome. That's
very
fantastic.
Good.
Yeah. So, you know, we the only thing that we can pray is that the rain has gone to the right regions where it was actually needed. Because I know we know that we still have a lot of our farmers and all that are in drought situations. So hopefully some of that rain has actually gone that direction as well. Well, it is Monday morning and we're getting into it. And we're very blessed here at home office this morning, actually. We have Vicky and Mark Dragon who are popping in. They always come in around about Christmas time to spend some time with the team. We've got morning tea that's been organised by Tamara and Bron and Hunter from Western Australia. So there's lots happening in here and all of the teams. So it's going to be a busy morning. But we wanted to take some time just to pop in as we do on a Monday morning, just to kind of give you a little bit of a, I suppose, a power action call for the week ahead. And we know that it's Christmas week and all of that. People keep telling us that. And we definitely know that, but I can tell you your home office team are still here and we will be. We'll only, just as a little reminder, we'll only be closed on the public holidays and the Monday. Christmas Eve, the team is actually going to have that day off. Myself and Lindsay are still popping on. We'll be popping on next Monday just to check in with all of you guys and that. But the office will actually be closed. So lots happening. Did a quick count there when I was chit-chatting with Lindsay earlier on. 14 days left in 2018. 14 days left in 2018. But you know what I know about 14 days? Miracles can happen.
Yeah.
I have seen businesses literally turn around in less than that time. I've seen kind of absolutely, you know, amazing hustling with heart and miracles happen in the last few days towards the end of a month. So when we've got 14 days still to the end of the year, I know that there's some magic happening. I know, I can feel it in my bones that there's some magic about to happen. I posted up some recognition earlier on of people who are already introduced at least one new franchisee this month, which means that they are so on the way to achieving their bonus this month for the 5-1. So that's a little bit exciting too. But it's also a time, and I know, Lindsay, we've chatted about this, where we start to reflect. Tell me what are your habits around this time where we look at kind of, I suppose what was the year that's kind of starting to wind up, and what worked and maybe what didn't, and that, what do you do at this time of the year?
Yeah, look, I just find I'm very, very reflective at this time of year. And for me, it starts about the 13th of December, because the 13th of December was quite a life-changing date on my calendar. So from that day forward through until the end of the month, I'm just reviewing, in the various areas of my life, in my health, in my wealth, in my relationships with my daughters, my friends, my beautiful husband, Jason, my areas of contribution. I just go and have a look at those various areas of life and see, what's great. Where has the growth been? Where has the evolution in those areas of life been? What have I done that's contributed to that? So I start with the positive. I always start with the positive. And I can't
Amen
stress
to
enough.
that.
I cannot stress that enough. To the leaders tuning in on the call, I know you'll know this.
What worked?
What worked every single time. So I always just have a look at, those areas of life, what worked. And then I also look at, where am I compared to where I wanted to be? So because I do this each year, and as part of that process, I look at, what do I want to create in the year ahead? But I do have a look and say, so where am I, where I thought I'd be, where I wanted to be, where I set out to be, where I intended to be when I went through the process last year? Am I, further forward? Am I less further forward? But for me, I also check in more than once a year. So I kind of pip it at the post before it all derails. But it's very much a time of looking at what worked, and then also looking at, what patterns of thinking supported that evolution and growth, what actions supported that, what energy did I bring to the table that supported it. So I kind of look at 3 key areas. How was I thinking? Who was I being? What was I doing that supported things to work? And then I also go to the flip side of that and ask myself the question, so what wasn't so great about it? And how was I thinking? Who was I being? What was I doing that contributed to it to being less than I wanted it to be, or not as good in some way? And then from that, from both of those sides, I then look at what were the clues, because success in making it work and success in making it not work both leaves clues. So I look at what are the clues on both ends of that. So, I start to really evaluate that, and specifically in that space too of what didn't work, and then I make a pact with myself to do less of what didn't work and more of what did work. And, I'm on my training wheels. Totally, Celine,
we all were.
as with most, because you take those steps forward and sometimes you crash and burn. But I think for me, the thing that I remember every year is that sometimes things won't go according to plan. And the only thing that really prevents us from living the life that we want to live is when we don't get back become engaged again. Do you know? So I also look at that.
Totally.
Where did I maybe pull over into a little rest stop and never get back into the game? Do you know? Because sometimes that happens. It's like, oh, okay, so in March, I pulled into a rest stop that I never came out of. That's interesting.
Hey, I reflected on that on the weekend myself.
Yeah.
I pulled into a rest stop when it came to my exercise when I was overseas, and never actually got back into the game.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I'd say, so first of all, I just want to have you all got your pen out and wrote down thinking, being, doing? Because as you are going through this next week and you're doing this reflection and you're looking, I think that, that's 3 exceptionally powerful words there when you start to look at all of it, as you're celebrating. And then also as you're looking at some of the things that maybe, were those little kind of, parks to the side of the road kind of thing, and then just forgot to kind of turn back in. You pulled into the stop that served coffee and donuts and stayed there, it's kind of like,
or admiring the view, like you pulled in at this beautiful lookout, and you're admiring the view into your future of what you would like it to be, but you never got back in the game of it, and you just sitting there
never went
looking
in
at what you'd love it to be like, but you never got back into it, you never got back into it. It's quite funny.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that I think is, in that thinking, being, and doing, just actually, really analyzing that and looking at it. And the thing I want to say is that, you know, I know that we, you know, humans, we're just such creatures of habits, and we kind of get led by what goes on around. So I get that, you know what, it's oftentimes around this time of the year, then we make the New Year's resolutions and whatever. But another important thing that Lindsay just spoke to there is that, you know what, when you are growing and when you're committed to growth, you're always looking at doing this. In fact, in my planner for the year, I have a day that's marked out. It's just crossed out every single month, and it's called that PD. It's called Planning Day, which basically will be about reflecting back and looking forward and being really, really clear about it, putting it in, scheduling it in. So it's not left till, you know, the very last moment, and suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, it's alrighty, that did not quite turn out the way I planned it 12 months ago. Alrighty, whoops, what went wrong? We're constantly looking at what's working, what's not, where can I improve? You know, what do I need? You know, where can I do better? What do I need to learn? All of those kinds of things. So one of the things that I actually did, and I'll share with you, because I had, you know, a few epiphanies on the weekend. It was definitely a very interesting thinking, being, and doing weekend. Ooh, I can tell you.
Tell me more about that.
And then for any of you who watched my live on the weekend, you'll know what I was talking about.
Right. Okay. There's a place to go visit.
So, but you know what, the beautiful thing about it was when I actually kind of, you know, shook myself out and kind of, you know, got really took the time to reflect first and foremost, and just knowing, and it's okay that life happens, and so, okay, well, if it's not going the way I wanted to go or the way I actually had planned, what can I do about that? So I actually reset, not waiting till, and this is the thing that I want to speak to, is that so many of us now will say, oh, well, what, it's the 17th of December, so you know what, I'm going to wait till the new year before I start into any of my new habits, or make some new choices, or start to self-correct maybe, and pull back out onto the road towards my goals. So what I actually did was, you know what, I looked and I said, okay, well, what are the 4 habits that I know that if I was to implement would definitely, they're all part of one habit, but just little pieces of it. And if I was to really commit right now, not wait till then, but commit right now, what would that look like? So I actually did out, even on a piece of paper, a tracking sheet for the next 21 days. So the next 21 days in each of those things, so I can tick each day, have I done that? And now, rather than waiting till January. And that's the thing that I'm going to say. How many of you in your business now are kind of going, oh, you know what, it's only 14 years, it's 14 years, 14 days to the end of the month and the end of the year. You know, it's too late now, and whatever like that. And what I'd say to you is, it's never too late to get started. It's never too late to get started. I took a beautiful picture on the weekend when I was doing one of my walks. It was actually the pier heading out into the ocean kind of thing, and it just looks like this really long road. And I was just reminding myself that every journey starts with the first step. It's a single step. So for each of you that are looking at your business and going, you know, it's nearly Christmas, it's kind of only 14 days to the end of the year, it's too late. You know what, I'm just going to put it all aside, and I'm going to revisit it again in January. How do you ask why? Why are your goals that important to you, that you actually really, really want to make something happen? Or are they kind of sort of goals that, you know what, I'll just put them, it doesn't really matter whether they happen or not? Or, you know, it's the life that you're living. Is it exactly how you want it, or do you want to make change? And if you do, is today a good day to start? I don't know. What about you, Lindsay? What do you think?
Yeah, look, I'm big on resolutions, Celine. It's kind of interesting. But I don't like to wait till New Year's Eve to make resolution. I'm all about making resolutions as I identify there's something I don't want to experience in my life anymore. And I think
Adrian is agreeing with you. Look, he's He's cracking the whip this week.
Yeah.
He's agreeing with you, Lindsay.
Totally.
He's not waiting. He's not waiting.
And there's no point in waiting. You know, I mean, you notice that something isn't working for you. What is the point in waiting? What? Waiting till it gets worse? Waiting till you end up in the pit somewhere before you do something about it? It just doesn't make sense. Yet it is human behavior so often. And so, you know, at this time of year, I just be really mindful of what happens in your head in terms of that, what pattern your brain runs. What is that program your brain runs? And one of the things that I'm hearing a lot right now is, oh, but my children really need me right now. It's a really busy time of year. It's, you know, I need to really focus on being there for my kids, and I need to just make sure, you know, my kids really need me. And I get that, you know, I get it, because like everyone on the call, I've worked my business over Christmas, and you too have, Celine, and we've done this now for years. And I remember one year I had that thought process going around, especially as school is now broken up and we're kind of doing the juggle with things as we're getting ourselves prepped, moving into that one day that is Christmas Day. We kind of spend months getting ready for that. Give my children, what is the gift that is really worth giving to my kids? And I realized that one of the greatest gifts I could give them was that of example, was by leading by example, by dreaming big and enabling them to see that, and letting them be part of that process, not just constantly putting them off. Because the more I put my dreams off, the more it modeled to them that that's the way forward. That's the path forward as a parent, as a mother, as a mentor. That's what we did. And I remember the time that I got that I really started to think differently in the month of December and every month thereafter. And rather than, you know, kind of allowing my business to get off course and then try to bring it back together in January, I just started to include them more in what I was doing so that they could see the dream moving into the new year, not pushing them away from it, not me pulling out of it, but bringing them into it so that they could see this was something that was important to me, you know. And that was really transformational in many different ways. And I'm sure, you know, you've done something similar over the years, Celine, because it's so easy to kind of, and you know what, if you say to someone, oh, my kids really need me, I mean, who's going to argue with that? I'll plant the seed again, and I'll be your devil's advocate, and I'm okay to throw it out there and say, is that really what's going on here, or is it just a beautiful distraction? And it's something you say that no one's going to question. You know, they're going to go, of course they do. Of course, yes, they need to.
The most powerful moment in my business was when I shifted from using my children as an excuse to using my children as my reason why.
Yeah.
You know, that was the most powerful decision I ever made. You know, they were my reason why. Yeah. And you know, it's that whole, that drive, that looking, rather than using them as an excuse. And then what happens, guys, too, is that when we use, no matter what it is, whether it's our children we're using it as an excuse, our spouse, our circumstances, whatever, it always will lead to resentment somewhere along the line. Because when we are not, you know, stepping into what it is that we truly want to be able to create, why we're here, and that then what I just really, you know, it ends up being in that space of resentment. And so, you know, I went through, and we can speak from our heart about this, guys, because you know what, we've actually been there. You know what, I remember using the kids as the excuse for why I wasn't doing what I needed to do. I remember using Mick as an excuse as to why I wasn't doing what I needed to do. You know, I remember using, you know, the excuse that, oh my gosh, all my family is on the other side of the world. It's just me here. Oh my God. You know, and so honestly, if I look back, the excuses could have actually filled my arm. Go, oh, tick. Oh, I've got that one. I've got a good one for you. And it was funny because I remember going through a season in my business where it was nearly like, because what happens is, remember, how we show up in the world, we attract others like us. So when I was showing up in that space of every good excuse I could possibly find, guess what I was attracting? All of these others where we were nearly in competition with one another to see who had the best excuse. I
remember those
Who
days?
else Who's resonating with me? Come on. Be honest.
Yeah,
Who's
baby.
putting hands up?
Listen,
and going,
I can
yep,
do
that's me.
totally. And it was kind of like that tall poppy syndrome on excuses. It's like, how can we one up each other on, oh, well, you got an excuse. Well, I've got a much bigger excuse than you. Like, you reckon that's an excuse? Wait till you hear mine. And it's so crazy. But, you know, the thing that you say there, Celine, about, you know, that your kids became that why. For me, it's also, you know, we either have the why nots, the why not tos. So the why not tos, well, I can't, other can'ts, or the excuses like, well, I'm a single mum, I don't get support from home, my upline doesn't support me, you know, nobody in my area wants what I have to offer, I don't know anyone, whatever it is. Like, there's a whole bunch of those things, and they can be the reasons why you don't do something, or they can be the reasons why you do something. Because what I realized is we get to show up to inspire others who are the single mums, who are the unsupported, who are the unheard, who are the ones struggling, who are the ones that maybe were abused, or maybe the ones that are out of domestic violence, maybe the ones who have been dealt a rough card. And if that's you, you get to show up for those people and show them a pathway forward. You actually get to do that. And so we talk about raising people up. We talk about people supporting them to be the best version of themselves. But for them to do that, we need to be the light, the torch, show the way what that looks like. And I know sometimes things are hard. I get it. But it's whether or not you lean more into the excuses, or you want to make the difference, you want to inspire, you want to support. And if that's your genuine desire, get off your ass and start doing the stuff that's in alignment with that.
Pull back into the lane.
Totally.
Pull back into the lane. Get back on the road with us and that as we move forward. Because again, you know, we could write a book about excuses.
Oh, totally. And I mean, I could be everyone on it too. Like, I'm by no means, same as you, Celine. It's like, I'm putting my hand up and going, whoa. You know, I've seen so many over the years. And it's because we've seen them that we're saying, don't fall into the same trap. Don't fall into that trap of getting stuck in that, because people around you will support your excuse, or they'll call you on it. And those who call you on it, my take on it, are the ones who really have your back. The ones who
they're the ones who truly love you. Yep, you're right.
They're the ones
totally right.
They're the ones that, even though they might get under your skin, they're the ones who love you enough to say, hang on a minute, I reckon there's more of you to show up than that. Or hang on a minute, is that really the truth, or is that just some excuse you're giving yourself? Or do you know what, I'm not going to buy into that with you. They're the people who have got your back, and they're the fewer in our circle of influence that I've discovered, because there's always a lot around that will buy into the excuse, because it just kind of, you know, lets them know that their excuse is valid as well. So it's an interesting thing.
They're generally the one that you've actually put on your little post-it note of whose opinion actually really matters. They're the ones there that actually, you know, you'll do that. And the other thing too is, like you said, you know, the thing is that we get to be the lamplighter, the dream keeper for so many. We've got to hold it for ourselves first, but then we actually get to be that for so many people. And all of that list that you listed off, whether it was out of domestic violence or single moms or whatever it might be, I know both myself and Lindsay, in our own businesses we're building, would have had at least somebody who was in those different pockets of people come into our business, and our business was the opportunity that they needed to actually change their circumstance. There's one lady straight away who jumps into my mind when I was building business in New Zealand, where she actually got that this business, the opportunity, because we gave her the opportunity to be able to do this, she ended up with both the courage and the resources to be able to actually leave a situation where before she had felt that she was trapped in that situation.
Yeah, wow. That's powerful.
We don't, this is why I'm so passionate about what we get to do, like what we get to do. Yeah. Because the thing is that we literally do change lives. And sometimes we can kind of think that that's just a little blasé throwaway comment, but it's the truth. When we're courageous enough to go out there day after day, no matter what day of the week it is, whether it's Christmas Day or what, no matter when it is, when we get to show up and actually really shine for who we are and share our opportunities with others, we seriously get to change lives. Seriously get to do that. So we were kind of started off on reflection. I think we got into everything else.
And you know what, Celine, though,
As
it
we
is
do.
so much a part of reflection, though. It really is, you know. I mean, this is the time of year that we ask ourselves, did I show up this year in the way I intended? Did I show up this year? Did I show up today to the best of my ability? And this is about loving ourselves through the process of being less than perfect, because that is all about evolution. It is about loving ourselves through that process. But you know, I think it's so important, because the why nots can be the excuses can be the reasons not to do something, or they could be the very reason to do it. Do you know, whatever that, and I just encourage you to write a list of all your excuses, the reasons why you think you can't be successful, or the reasons why, when you're reflective, things haven't worked out the way you would like them to, and then flip it on its head and make that your reason to perform at a higher level, think in a more positive way, bring the best of yourself to the table. Yes, it's very, very exciting time. I get really excited this time of year for me.
I do too. I actually really do I love this time. For many reasons, I love this time of year, but I also do love this part of the opportunity to reflect and to be able to make changes now rather than wait. So as we wind up, it's 14 days, as we said, to the end of the year, the end of the month. Okay. So for many of you, I know that you've already started to kind of, you know, pack away your business and put it into kind of these mothballs here, thinking that it's magically going to resurrect itself on the 1st of January. And we can tell you from experience, us old codgers, we've been around for a little while now, from experience, that's not going to happen. It's a little bit like a plant. If you were to kind of put cover over a plant now and put it away and go, you know what, I'm taking that plant out again on the 1st of January. When you take that cover off, I can probably pretty much guarantee that it's actually going to be dead. Or if you plant a seed and you forget to water it. Okay, so what I'm going to say to you, though, is that, you know what, you don't have to be working flat out on the plant. You just need to be giving it a little bit of water every day. That's the thing. You just need to give it a little bit of water every day, a little bit of nurturing. So if you think about your business as a plant, if you nurture it, it will grow. If you don't, it won't. That's the reality of it. So just kind of have that little picture in your head of that beautiful plant that you actually really want to blossom and to kind of, you know, bear seed and multiply and all the rest. That is your business. So over this next 14 days, don't think about putting it to one side and just hoping that it continues to live in that process. Think about each day, what can I be doing to watering it? And we've talked over the last while about even giving your business 30 minutes a day to be able to maybe do your posts, do some follow-ups, whatever it needs to be that you know are going to be the high-paying activities. Start some conversations, reach out to some people. So I'd really encourage you to look at what you can do. How will you watering your plant? What would it look like? What does that look like for you in your business over these next 14 days? And let's make these next 14 days really count. Let's make them count towards helping other people to change their lives, helping us, you know, each of us to kind of impact the 100,000 families. You know, we get to do that in so many different ways. And also have fun on the journey, because let's face it, our business is not difficult. It really isn't. It's not difficult. We've even got some videos, I think, of how to make cocktails using some of the soft chews. So you know what? I mean, you can totally get into the Christmas spirit without Gift Plus.
Yeah, totally. Be
well.
festive and fun along the way. So, but I think that's the key, Celine. You know, if you, I love that pot plant analogy. If you were to take a pot plant and you were to put it in a dark room, and let's face it, sometimes the places people put their businesses is in a dark room. It doesn't see any sunlight at all. If you're going to do that and expect it to grow, then, you know, you're going to be bitterly disappointed. So I just love that. So very exciting to see what unfolds over these next 14 days.
Absolutely. And don't worry, so the calls are still on this week for the training calls, the normal training calls. Lindsay and the team will be hanging out here waiting for you. So make sure you get on those calls, team. They really do. They love catching up with you. And then next Monday, we will still be there. Christmas Eve, we're going to be popping in to say hi. and spend some time with you guys as we, further get into wrapping up this amazing year. Thank you, Lindsay, as always. It's great.
Love spending
out with you,
time.
darling.
Yeah, right back at you. Love this. I love this time with you and to serve the team. So I'll catch you on the flip side.
Absolutely. God bless. Bye.
Okay,
everybody.
bye.